Today I will show you the 3 things we do before putting any EA on a larger live account to try and make some real profit. It applies to generated or third-party EAs alike, or even ones you've coded yourself. And I will demonstrate the whole process with EAs I've generated, and I'll even give you the strategy that I select as the best one in this run-through of this process. In my experience, following this process dramatically improves your chances of making profits with a robust system. Before I continue, however, it does mean a lot to us if you can subscribe. Many of you who watch our videos don't actually subscribe and possibly don't even realize that you haven't done so. So if you do watch our content regularly and you like watching it and don't want to miss anything, then please check if you've subscribed, and if not, then it would mean a lot if you did so. So first, I place several EAs onto 3 small broker live accounts. Each have $500, and I've done this to test their robustness. Now, you could use 2, you could use 4, you could use demos if you really want rather than live. Live is ideal, but I understand not everyone wants to put real money on. I'm just saying that this can be tweaked a little bit, but I would try and stay as close to these principles as possible. And the reason I've done this is I wanted to see if they had similar performance on each broker, and I actually even opened different types of accounts with each broker. So one of them has a standard account where the trading costs are included in the spreads, and another one is the prime account, for example, where we have commission and lower spreads. I'm not trying to make profits with these accounts. I really want to risk as little as possible. So for each strategy I'm trading to test them out, I'm actually trading the lowest lot size of 0.01, and I'm just comparing results, assessing robustness, getting a feel for them. I'll show the accounts in the VPS now, and I'll show the trading costs just to show what I mean there. I've got a VPS here with several terminals trading. So I've got many terminals here because obviously I trade quite a few systems, but these last 3, I believe I've just put as these specific accounts. Yeah, so we'll just have a look at the balances here. So they're actually all still around. They've been trading for a couple of months, and they're all still around the starting balance. As you can see, they're all trading the smallest lot size. It wasn't about making profits at all. In fact, it's as I said. So we've got the 8-cap account here, Black Bull, and IC Markets. And if we go and have a look at the history for each, we can see what I was talking about with the trading costs. So we can see that the 8-cap, we've got an account that actually has commissions and swaps, and therefore it will have lower spreads than this particular broker's standard account. We've got the Black Bull account. I've actually chosen their standard account. So they have a prime account, which will have better trading conditions typically, but we've got no commission here. We've got some swaps, and all the costs are actually included in the spread. And for IC Markets, we don't actually have any swaps, and we can see we've got a slightly higher commission here, and so no swaps, and presumably, as it should be, lower spreads. So there are the accounts, and I've linked each of these to FX Blue, as we can see here. I've got an FX Blue link here, so let's have a look at that. So if I go to my FX Blue accounts, I'll just show the Black Bull one here. Now what I've done for each of the 3 brokers is I've gone here in FX Blue, I've looked at the symbols. So each symbol is trading a single strategy, and we can see some stats here, and we're able to download that as a file. And I've got a spreadsheet here where I've imported those results and I've compared them. So I'm just looking at the net profit here, and so we can see that I've got each strategy. We've got a single strategy on each pair, as I said, so 6 in total. I've shown the count of trades here, and basically what I'm just showing is I've just taken each line for simple kind of demonstration purposes. I've just color scaled this so we can see that they've all lost on the Aussie dollar, but IC's lost a little less than Black Bull and 8-cap, and so we can see the kind of color grading. And so I've got that for each row. These ones are profitable, and we can see that this one's more profitable in this case, the most profitable, and so it's green, and vice versa here. Black Bull has the best performer on USD CAD, and it's the one that's green. So we can get a good little snapshot here. And so really what I want to do now is, as I said, I didn't expect, everyone's hovered around the same balance, and do I see one? I might not even see one, but do I see one that looks kind of worth trading? I actually do, because if we just have a look here, these 3 are all profitable. Now USD JPY has always been my favorite pair for my generated strategies. It just tends to work really well with my flow, so I'm not surprised here. It's got the most trades, so we've got positive kind of statistics for these 2 also, and technically their net profit's a little bit more, but it's not about the net profit, it's about about the profit factor, return to drawdown, win rate. It's about the statistics. As I said, I just traded a small lot size. And this one has lots of trades and it's profitable. So let's just have a look at the statistics. And we can see we got a profit factor of 1.13. We've got a 70% win rate. This looks kind of worth trading to me. And as I said, for all of these, in fact, it's kind of showing some robustness. We're not seeing unprofitable result on one broker and a profitable result on another. It's not all over the place. It's very uniform. They've all performed within a range here of a loss, a range here of a loss, a range here of a win, and they've all made, the same amount of trades. It's showing robustness of the brokers. It's showing robustness of the strategies, and there's kind of good results here. As I said, it's a bit unfair to kind of just say judge these numbers over these because they're different accounts, but I'm liking what I see, and I'm going to choose this USD JPY strategy to take further. So the second thing I always do, as I said, is to assess what broker looks best. Now we've got some good results here to work with. I'm obviously choosing the USD JPY strategy to work with, and I now want to trade this on a live account and make some real profits. Now, as I said, if we have a look at this table here, we can see that, they're all pretty similar. Now, it would be easy to just look at one and go, okay, well, maybe perhaps 8cap in this case, it's made the most. But as I said, these are different accounts. Now, the IC Markets had the pure prime account. This one had commissions and a bit of spreads, and this one was pure, it's a bit of swap costs, of course, and this one was pure swap and spread, which tends to be the not so good account. Now I can just show that quickly. I chose the standard account for them, right? We can see the spreads are considerably higher from 0.8 versus from 0. The prime account is the most popular. We've got no commission, as I've shown, but higher spreads, and it's saying perfect for beginner traders. But when we're trading more, it just tends to be that the prime accounts are the higher performers. So I actually expect from looking at these numbers that Black Bull is going to be the best performer, really. And also on top of that, I've used both brokers, and I just tend to find that 8cap takes much longer to process my withdrawals, and Black Bull's very quick at this. So I'm just leaning towards them in every way, and so I'm going to choose a prime account rather than their standard, but I expect that to be the best performer for this currency. So we've done a couple of steps here. We've tested on real conditions. We've now selected the best broker. And the third and final step is, of course, backtesting correctly and setting the proper risk. Now, I obviously backtested these systems in development prior to even getting to this point. But of course, now let's do a final backtest because we're trying to make some real money. So let's take a look at the backtest now. I've got MT5 open here, and I've got lots of accounts, so you can log into whatever you want to take the data from. I've chosen Black Bull, so let's choose their live account here. Here's the chosen USD JPY strategy here, and I'll test it over a couple of years. It's M15, a couple of years is certainly adequate. I've set the balance to 2000. Just for a start, I'm going to choose 0.1 lots. I'm always going to do my final check on the every tick based on real tick data, where it downloads every single tick and runs the most accurate backtest. But EA Studios can be backtested quicker, and I'm just going to start with the open, high, low, close. I'm just going to run a few quick tests. I want to get my risk set right. Now, you can see that was very fast because these EAs have been written very well, and they do backtest very, very quickly. So on a $2,000 account, that's showing that I have this 11% drawdown. I'm going to ignore that because that can happen. If I look at the graph, it can kind of have its worst drawdown after it's made some profits. And I'm always going to assume that I get my worst drawdown as soon as I start. I could have started trading the account just before that worst drawdown. So I'm going to look at this dollar value, and that's $500. So I've got about a 25% drawdown here over 2 years. And do you know what? To me, that's pretty reasonable. I'm actually happy with that because 25%, I like a bit of a safety factor. I could push it a little further, but a safety factor of 2 is good. I've tested on one broker. Even though I am going to test on this broker, it just can perform differently on others and, future data. And I like a safety factor. So I'm conservative and I'm going to stick with that. So that means that I've got a safety factor of 2, and I don't expect really to exceed a 50% drawdown, which is what I aim for as sensible risk on a live account. And so what lot size did I say? I got lucky the first time and got the right amount. 0.1 lots on a $2,000 account. I anticipate quite a good profit there. That's made $2,500 over 2 years. So if we just simplify that maths and just call it 2,000, that's made 50% each year. Okay, so that's made actually about 4% a month, which is a very good return. It's reasonably steady. As I said, these kind of EAs, they typically aren't this, we've got a stagnant period and then a boost, especially on the yen tends to work this way. We've got a stagnant period and then a little bit down. So, you can average it over the year as a monthly profit, but, we're really the better number to work with is about 50% a year. And that's a very good return, as I'm sure most people know. So as I said, that's looking like the right amount. And as I said, the open, high, low, close model is a good model to backtest, but we want to do the final check with the full tick. I was expecting to have to do a few iterations, and maybe, point one didn't look right. I might have needed a couple of other quick runs, because we can see here, look, this takes a bit longer. It doesn't take too long because, again, they do backtest fast, these EAs, but in terms of percentage terms, it's 10, 20 times slower. So we'll just let that run. We can see that running, and it's good to see that this is still, looking very similar to the open, high, low, close, fast back testing model. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of different numbers, but not too much. Super close in this case. Okay, the profit factor I think is slightly higher. The same numbers apply. That's what I'm going to trade. So there we have it. That strategy is ready to go on a $2,000 account with that lot size, and I'm hopeful that it will make 50% over the course of a year, and I'll monitor it and adjust as I go. If it keeps doing well and keeps trading in accordance with this backtest, I'll increase the capital that it's trading with, and vice versa. If it doesn't do so well, I'll maybe retire it. It's the game of risking, it's the game of trading. There's no guarantees. We just have to set our risk properly, monitor things, and hope things work as well as they did in the past. And generally, if you follow good processes, you're right more often than you're wrong, and you come out on top. So I'd encourage anyone to follow these steps, or, a close variation. As I said, you may use demo accounts rather than live, but I'm just sharing what has been working for us generally and what I found to be very robust. I'll show you how to get that for free. We'll put a link in the description, but you can get a free trial of EA Studio, and it's a full functionality free trial, no card details needed, and you can have every feature of the software, including the downloading of expert advisors for MT4 and MT5. Once you've done that, you can create a strategy from scratch. Just kind of go to the strategy tab, everything will be blank, and you can just recreate this strategy. You basically, you can just open this up and copy these details. So we've got point 1, long and short, ignore, fix 62, fix 75, and max spread 0. And you can just add each rule. So you can see here, do not exit. So you can just add the rule, do not exit, and just copy that. That's what it looks like. Indicator exit's not allowed. And then there's 3 entry rules here. So you just grab them, and it's the MACD signal crosses the signal line upwards with these values, this moving average crossover, and with these values, and this signal, and this one here, bear power is lower than the level line there. So that's that strategy there. And then once you've put it in, you can test it over different, I've tested it over a few years here. You can test it over a certain number of bars. But once you've got that and you're happy that it's the same strategy, just download it for MT4, MT5, and it's good to go. You can trade that on the chart. Also, in the same way I compared the different brokers, I'm now going to perform a test to show the difference between the standard and prime accounts in the near future for each broker. So I'm going to get that trading very soon, and I'll make a video once I have some results that are ready to share. So that's I think that's going to be very informative. I'm looking forward to those results. So if you want to be notified and when that video is ready, then please subscribe to our channel, and happy trading. Bye for now.